Hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial on using Excel. In this video, we'll look at some methods of splitting data which has been organized in a single column into multiple different columns or cells. The two most common ways of splitting data are using the text to column feature or using formulas which have been provided within Excel. So let's look at each of these methods. To begin with, the text to column feature can be utilized in a couple of different ways. We have the option for fixed width and for delimited. To understand fixed width better, let's say we have a set of 5 different random sentences that we have here. And we are trying to split these sentences, which are all in a single column, into multiple different columns. The way to do that is once you select this data that you want to split, and if you go to text to column, you will see immediately that there are two different options. There is delimited and there is fixed width. For now, we'll select fixed width and click on next. On this screen, what Excel needs is for us to specify the places where we want to create the column breaks or the places from where we want to split data. So here you see a scale. And on this scale, whenever you click on a certain place, you will see a line break appear. If you click somewhere else, you'll have another line break and another and another. So when you do go ahead and split the data from this column, you will see that these are the places from where the sentence will split into separate parts. In order to remove a line break, you can simply double click on that and the line break will go away. If you click, the line break will appear. Now let's go ahead and click on next. And let's say that we want our response starting at cell number D2. Okay, so once we have split the data, the splitted up columns into multiple columns will appear starting at cell number D2. Let's finish, and there we are. As you can see now that each of the sentences which are in a single column have been split into multiple columns all the way from column number D till column number J or K, depending upon the length of the sentence. So this is one interesting feature that we can use sometimes. The other way that the text to column feature generally functions within Excel is by using the option for delimited. Now, delimited has to be used with separators or generally known as delimiters within spreadsheets, programming, and so on. A delimiter is nothing but a symbol or a letter that can help to identify where the sentence is to be broken from. So for instance, if you look at column B here, each of the words is separated by a space. So you have a space in between John and lives. Then you have another space in between lives and in. Finally, you have a space between in and Sydney. So here in this case, the delimiter could serve as the space. In column D, if you see, there again the same 4 sentences, but these are delimited by comma. So we can separate the column or convert it from text to column using the comma as a delimiter. In the third and the fourth one, we have the semicolon and we have the slash respectively. So let's apply this feature and see how this works. So let's say we select this data right here. We go to text to column and choose the option for delimited, which you see selected by default. Now click on next on this screen. It will now ask you to select the delimiter of your choice. Many times you'll see that tab is selected. Tab at the top is generally selected as a default option. In this case, we can simply select the slash as a default option and then click on next. And then select the place, the destination or the place where you want to see the split up data. Let's say we want to see it starting at cell number J3. So your output will appear starting at cell number J3. You click on finish and there we are. As you can see, this time around, the single column data in column H has been split into multiple different columns from column J all the way till column O. And the delimiter that was used is the slash. So this is again a very useful feature within Excel to split data, as we shall see in some of these examples. So now let's apply some of these concepts to understanding how real world problems can be solved. So here in this example, you have a set of new joiners for a company ABC. Since these are new joiners, what ABC wants is to create their email addresses, say at the point of joining. So how are these email addresses to be created? The convention for ABC is mentioned right here. ABC creates email addresses using the following rule. It takes the first three letters of the first name, the first three letters of the last name. It takes the month of birth, and then at the end, it appends at abc.com. So let's see how this would potentially work for us. So if you choose the first column right here, and you go to text to column, and let's choose fixed width and click on next. So what are we trying to do here? So with fixed width, what we are trying to do is we will try and extract the first three letters starting from the left, because remember, as per convention, you need the first three letters of the first name. So here we have to now place the delimiter, and we can just place it here. As you can see, with this delimiter, it has now broken up the data in column 1 with the first three letters appearing on the left side of the column break. Let's click on next, and now let's say that we want this data to show up in cell number, starting from cell number G8. Let's click on finish. There we are. You can now see that here in this column, the data has been split up. The first three letters of the first name appear here. Now we don't need some of these additional things that we have here, so we can remove. And there we are. You have the first three letters. Let's use the same logic here. We want the data split the first three letters of the last name as well. Same concept. We can choose fixed width here, and then go ahead and mark this. And then let's select the destination as H9 right after G. Click on finish. There we are. Now you can see that the last name in column C has been split up into two columns, G and H. Column G has the first three, and then you have column H, which can be discarded. All right. Moving on to the next thing. What is the next thing that we require to complete this email address? You need the month of birth. To get the month of birth, again, similarly, what we can do is go back to text to column. You can go to fixed width, and within fixed width, you can split it from here and here. As you can see, this is going to split the column into three parts. The first part will have the date, followed by the slash, then you have the month, then you have another column break followed by a slash and the year. Now if you click on next, and let's say we need this starting from column I onwards, and click on finish, and there you are. You have the data split into three different columns. We don't need the first one, neither do we need the next one. So we can remove these, and we can simply move this data here. There we are. So now we have a near perfect setup. So here, as you can see, we have now obtained the first three letters of the first name, the first three letters of the last name, and we have the month of birth. Now remember that you have to generate the email address, which ends in at abc.com. So this is how this thing is likely to end. Now, in order to do this, what we need is, remember that we can combine this in different ways. You have the ampersand, you have the concatenate function as well. If we were to concatenate this and join these together, we have this followed by the first three of the last name. So we can put that there, select the cell. Then what we need is the month, select that, and remember that we need this to be ending in abc.com. Okay, let's try this and see. There we are. You can see here you have the email address generated for the first new joiner, right? First three letters of the first name, first three letters of the last name, the month of birth, ending in @abc.com. Now you can simply drag this, and there you are. You have now just now generated the new email addresses for all these joiners. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So commonly, what you'll also see is when you extract data from different systems, many a times the data that you extract or generate uh, could be from a CSV file, which is nothing but a comma separated values file, or it could just be in a notepad format. As you can see here, here we have, let's say we have extracted data from a different system, and the data shows up like this. So from column 4 till column 18, as you can see, we have a lot of data, and that data unfortunately is not in a standardized format in this case. But the good part for us is we can see here that the data is delimited. The delimitation, as you will observe, is by spaces. So now what we can do is, with this data again, we will be able to use text to column feature very effectively to segregate this data into different parts. So let's see how we can do that. Now, in order to do that, what we can look at here is, again, you select the data right here. And once you've selected this data, in fact, let's select this entire thing because we'll also need the column headers. And then within this option, if you go to text to column, we know that fixed width will not work here, because remember that the length of each of these fields, whether that's first name, whether that's tenure or age, city, all of that is different. So our choice is to go ahead with delimited. Within delimited, the choice we want to use is space. There you are. Under data preview, it tells you exactly how this is going to show up, and this is what we wanted. Let's click on next, and let's say we want the destination cell, the place where you want your output, to begin from cell number D3. So once you do convert this into multiple different columns or cells, your output will start showing up from cell number D3. Let's click on next. There we are. The data has now appeared in a way that you can use, you can summarize, you can review, you can use it for further calculations. So that's where we are. You can see it's now split up into meaningful entries out here. Okay, so, and now obviously with this you can then cut, paste, copy, split them further if required, generate other information, and so on. All right, now let's quickly move on to another way by which you could possibly split data. So this way is using certain given formulas within Excel to split data. So when you use formulas in Excel to split data, remember that you can split it from either the leftmost end of the word, or you can split it from the rightmost end of the word. So how do we understand it? So let's take an example word before we solve this exercise to generate an email address using formulas. So for instance, let's say you have a word Alexander, and the two most common formulas in this case to split information is the formula left and the formula right. So what does the formula left do? The formula left will allow you to extract a certain substring or a subword from the left hand side. So starting from the left hand side of the word. So for instance, if we use Alexander as the word from which you want to extract a subword or a substring, and let's say we specify the number of letters that we want to extract from the left edge of the word is 3. There we are. As you can see, it has now extracted the first 3 letters, because the formula that we've used is left L3, 3, L3 being Alexander. So this formula is basically saying, give me the first 3 letters of the word Alexander. Let's try another one. Let's say we write this. So as you can expect, this formula is saying, give me the first 5 letters starting from the left hand side for this word Alexander. And there we are. It gives us Alexa. Now you can also use the other formula, which is right. No guesses. Here again, right will allow you to extract information from the right hand side. So starting from the letters R, E, and D, and so on, this will extract data. So for instance, if I do right 1, this will give you the rightmost letter. If we do right 2, it should give you the last 2 letters. Let's see. There we are. If we do right 3, it will give you the last 3 letters. So as you can see, it's a very flexible way of actually extracting information. And remember that with a lot of these formulas, you can also nest them together in different combinations. So you could possibly apply a couple of different rights, or maybe one right and one left, to generate extracted data in different ways and forms. Okay, now how do we utilize this? So out here, for instance, we want to generate this information right here. So in order to do this, what we do is, so let's say we do concatenate. And what do we want to concatenate? So the convention is first 3 letters of the first name. Let's say we want the first 3 letters of the first name. That's our first. What do we need next? We need the first 3 letters of the last name. So let's say we again do a left and we do first 3. Okay, so left B3 3 gives you the first 3 letters of the first name. Left C3 3 gives you the first 3 letters of the last name, which is Smith in this case. And then what do we need next? The next thing that we need is the month. Now, month in this case, in order to do this by a formula, what we will be using is the standard month formula. So when you apply the month formula on a date, it gives you back the month of that date. And where is that date? The date is in cell number D3. So this is the next thing that you require. And then finally, we want this to end with the domain for abc.com. So there we specify the domain for abc.com. And that's how a formula looks like. The first entry gives you the left 3. The second entry gives you the left 3 of the last name. The third entry, month D3, gives you the month of the date of birth. And finally ending with domain. Let's see if this formula works for us. There we are. This is an exact match of what we have already done on a previous example, where we were trying to split the data by using the text to column feature fixed width, and we were able to get the same response. Now all that you need to do is drag the formula and you have your required responses. So within this, now you've seen that there are different ways by which you could possibly extract data. This is a very important feature. Remember that when you're doing analysis on data which is extracted from multiple different systems, there is no guarantee that the data will be in a specific format. In fact, within data science, what you'll notice is that there is a certain amount of effort expended in cleaning up the data, making sure that the data is in a certain given format for you to actually upload it on any statistical software, or if you want to use Python, for instance, in order to run data analysis. One essential feature is going to be cleaning up the data first before you actually upload it. One aspect of cleaning up data is separating it into meaningful fields, meaningful data values that you can then use for further analysis. So that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully this was instructive and will be useful to you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.